Welcome to Behind the Stripes, a special quarantine episode. As you all know, none of us are able to be in the office at the moment, so we have come to you from our homes. This is my home. My co-host Luis is in his home right now, and then we're here with San Antonio FC defender Blake Smith from his home. Blake, thanks for joining the show, man. We appreciate having you on and making the time for us with all the craziness going on right now.
Of course. Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, super busy. It was tough for me to fit you guys into my wild schedule right now.
Luis, why don't you lead us off, man? I feel like you're question master these days, right?
Am I?
Yeah. Well, you text me a lot with questions, so I feel like you can start us off here.
No, well, I don't know. Just mostly, catching up. What's been going on, Blake? How's the quarantine treating you? What have you been up to?
Man, it's been. I guess we're all kind of dealing with the same things right now. It's a little bit just the uncertainties and the unknowns of how long this is going to last are a little bit stressful. But it's been nice. My wife and I bought a house here in San Antonio just before the start of the season. And so we've been able to get some projects done that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And that's been good. So, we're finding ways to keep busy around here. And then we're obviously still meeting as a team several times a week, just to kind of obviously keep in touch with each other and try and maintain a level of fitness. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on around here.
Nice. I hear there's oh, go ahead, Preston.
No, I was just gonna say congrats on the house. It's exciting, but
Thanks.
I know what Luis is about to touch on, but before we get there, I'm curious. I think one of the things that you guys talked about and Alan and the staff talked about a lot was how the team chemistry really came together throughout the course of preseason and then that first game that we played. What have you guys been doing, or like how do you feel that chemistry is now, especially since everyone is for the most part socially distant away from each other?
No, it's good. Obviously, it's tough to to reach out to every single player all the time and kind of maintain what we had going throughout the preseason. Seeing each other every day and having that kind of locker room banter. But through Zoom, we've been able to have these meetings pretty much daily, where we're able to kind of catch up. And obviously you're not able to do the locker room banter as much as otherwise, but no, it's still good. Obviously the chemistry is still there, and we're through these Zoom calls we're able to kind of just catch up and keep it light at times, and also we're able to continue to progress with our tactics and things like that. So it's been good, and we do have a really good close-knit group, all the way from the staff to the players.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's cool. I tell you what, if anyone bought stock in Zoom right before the quarantine hit, I feel like if there's someone that feels positive about what's happening, they might. But that's story for another day, I guess. We're even podcasting on Zoom, which is new for all of us.
Yeah.
How have the workouts been and all of that for you guys? Obviously keeping fitness up and stuff. I know Sean's been putting together some programming.
Yeah, it's been obviously different. They try and do everything in a confined space, so you can basically do it. I do in this room right here, actually. So it's literally just like a 10 by 10 space or even less. So it's all been just kind of like running in place, ball work within that little area of space, core work, push-ups, sit-ups, that kind of stuff. So I mean, the fitness part has been good. We've been able to get these workouts in, but obviously it's tough to maintain on-field type fitness with the ball and being able to implement these tactics that we're able to watch through these Zoom calls that Alan's kind of walking us through step by step with tactics. And so we're able to see what he wants, but it's tough because we're not able to implement it. But Sean and those guys have been doing a great job of leading us in daily workouts, Monday through Friday. And then they've been giving us like runs to do on our own besides, the kind of fitness that we do as a team, those workouts. So it's been good, but it's been tough. We're all itching to get back onto the pitch. But we can only do so much at this point, and so I think we're making the most of this opportunity. And it's not fun, but it's part of the job. So just got to roll with it.
Yeah, for sure. I think all of us have also kind of tried to fill the gaps in our work schedules and everything with hobbies and whatever. 31 years old now, started doing Legos for the first time and building all kinds of contraptions. I know Luis is probably playing more Grand Theft Auto than any 13-year-old on the planet. What have you been doing? It looks like I've been seeing on Instagram you've been gaming a little bit. What are you doing to pass the time?
Yeah, I'm into. I play a lot of Fortnite, so
Yeah.
I just recently started streaming just because why not at this point? I'm playing so much, I might as well put it on video and get the fans engaged. And it's been
Yeah.
cool because I've only had like 10 viewers at a time consistently, so it's nothing crazy, but it's an opportunity for the fans to kind of reach out and ask me some questions, um, and it's been pretty positive the last few times I've tried it. So there's usually a couple fans that ask me questions and just engage with me, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
What's your username on Twitch?
On Twitch, it's Blake Y'all, no space or anything. Just
Nice.
it's Blake Y'all.
There you go.
Yeah, so look it up, follow it, donate to the channel.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I think Hayden was streaming some Call of Duty Warzone not too long ago too. So a couple guys are
And I think
making the esports push.
Zach too's been doing some. So
Yeah.
we'll see. It's a competition to see who's gonna make a career out of it.
Very nice. Were you did you go to like I don't even know how it works, but the concert that Fortnite put on?
Yeah, I did. So it's basically it's just like an in-game type deal where it was Travis Scott, and so he had like 3 or 4 songs, and you just go into a game, and it's like a live virtual experience, which was pretty cool. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I did like a little concert through Fortnite.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, Lou, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna talk a little bit about, I guess, the soccering and some of your history, how you ended up here. Obviously, we know that it's home, but just tell us a little bit about how you came up through the system of youth soccer. You played for Classics Elite, right?
Yes, that is correct.
How was that experience? Just growing up. Obviously, the landscape was kind of different then than it is now, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've spoken on it many times, but it's so true that the level has really grown from the youth development in San Antonio. Back whenever I was going through it, Classics Elite was the highest level, and still a great club that exists today. But now you have SAFC's Youth Academy, and they've really just pushed the boundaries a million times since I was with Classics Elite, and they're developing quality young players that are, as you see, are making the jump to the first team. And so it's really cool to see because, back then none of that existed. There wasn't a pro team in San Antonio whenever I was in youth soccer. And so the exposure for youth soccer for players in San Antonio is very minimal. And so now to see where it's at is just, it's awesome. And I hope it just continues to improve.
When you were playing professionally, you've been you've played within MLS and NASL and had some really good experiences. When there was a professional team in San Antonio, did you always have an eye on returning home to play one day, or was it just kind of now at this point it worked out for the best in your career?
No, it was always something that I was eyeing and kind of waiting for the opportunity for it to align with my path, I guess. And I actually never thought it would actually happen. I just I was like, yeah, it'd be nice if it happens someday, and if not, then whatever. But it was a perfect opportunity that presented itself, and great timing too, because we were at a stage in my life and my wife's life where we wanted to plant some roots, buy a home, and eventually start a family, and to be close to family was another big deal. So when I had the opportunity, it was an easy decision for me.
I guess at one point, did you realize that going pro was a real possibility? Like from where I sit, we've talked about it a little bit, but we played against each other in high school a couple of times, and it's just like being from this area isn't like, I don't know, I just feel like it wasn't necessarily the biggest like hot spot. So like, I guess as you progressed through your career, when did you realize like, wow, this is something that I can do and like I'm going to make it happen?
Yeah, so kind of to touch on that a little bit, back when I was in the youth system of Classics Elite, we had several good players that were fully capable of playing Division One. Not just Classics Elite. There were, several other clubs that had quality players. And like you said, the exposure was very minimal back then. There was no pro team in San Antonio. And back then, the only Division One team was SMU at the time in Texas. And so they were looking at bigger and better clubs. And so the good players in San Antonio didn't necessarily get the first look or even a second look. And so for me, I felt that I was good enough to play Division One soccer, and playing with Classics, I was doing well, scoring goals, and the exposure still wasn't, they weren't knocking on my door. And so what I was able to do, fortunately, is I had my parents film every one of my games, and I put together a highlight clip and did some research on Division One schools I would have been interested in, and I just sent the highlights out with a little bit of my history and to these schools and these coaches, and just kind of put it out in the air. And some of the coaches reached back out to me, and at that point I was able to kind of say, yeah, I have an opportunity to play Division One soccer, and ended up going to New Mexico, obviously. And from there, I would say about my junior year is whenever I really started to find my own at the college level, and had a very successful junior year. And so I would say after my junior year, just kind of knowing how I performed at the college level, at the Division One level at the time, I was like, it's a real possibility. I had some agents reaching out to me at this point, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Obviously, this is my dream to play in the MLS, and my lifelong dream. And I think it's actually tangible at this point. And so going into my senior year, I was very optimistic, and just kind of continued to play well. Ended up, I think, being second most in assists in the country. And from there, I signed a pre-contract with the MLS and went into the draft knowing that I was going to have an opportunity to play in the MLS. So cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. What was that process like, the super draft? We always see it from from a fan perspective, from the club perspective, and the commissioner and the NFL and the NBA and everything standing up at the podium and announcing picks and whatnot. What was it like on your end during the draft? You were selected 8th overall by Montreal. Did you wait on a phone call? Did they call you and give you a heads up, or how'd that go?
Okay, so at the there's the MLS Combine, which usually it's kind of like not a guarantee that you're getting drafted, but a lot of those players do end up getting drafted. And so you basically just go and play some games, and throughout that process, they do some testing, speed and agility, whatever. And then throughout that process, you do interviews with teams that are interested in you by their request. And so I think I had maybe 10 to 12 teams reach out for an interview. And so you basically just interview with all the coaches on whichever team it is. Let's say, for example, Montreal had their head coach, their assistant, and I think maybe their technical director at the time. They just kind of interview you to kind of gauge you as a person. I think at this point they know you as a player, and now they just want to see if you're going to fit in the locker room and their goals and ideals. So from there, after all those interviews, I kind of had a really good feeling that it was going to be between Montreal or Kansas City. Kansas City walked away from the meeting saying, "We want you, and we want to get you. If whenever it's our pick, we're taking you." So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm probably going to go to Kansas City. And then I actually had my interview with Montreal went extremely well, better than I could have ever hoped for, because at the time I knew nothing about Montreal, and it was like the last place on my list, just because it was in Canada and far from a Texas boy. And so I was like, dang, that interview went way too well. And so in my head, I'm like, that is a strong possibility I'm going to Montreal. And so come draft day, it was funny because the MLS didn't pay they paid for several guys that were going to go in the first round to fly to the draft. And I was talking to my agent, and my agent's like, yeah, the MLS hasn't gotten back to us on paying for your flight. I'm like, okay, no problem. And so I just ended up watching the draft from my house, my parents' house, with my siblings there, and so we were all just gathered around watching the TV, and then I think it was just a couple minutes before the Montreal's pick. So Montreal was the 8th pick, and I think Kansas City was like 12 or 13. And so I'm like, okay, if I'm not going to Montreal, I'll probably go Kansas City. And so 8th pick comes, and I get a call, and it's the Montreal technical director, and there we go, got drafted.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a cool experience that I to be able to do that in my house, which you've seen this year with the NFL draft. Everybody's doing it at their house with this quarantine going on, all their friends and families, which I think it's more special that way. So it was definitely no regrets about not being actually at the draft itself.
That's awesome. It's funny. I have two like very specific instances. So obviously like, there was one, I was going through this Facebook page that I had with a few friends from back in the day that we used to play soccer with. And we were scrolling down, just laughing about like really old posts that we had and stuff. And I posted in that page the day you got drafted. I saw it on foxsoccer.com, and I posted in there, now I don't feel that's bad that we kept getting wrecked. And it was a link to you getting drafted. I just thought that was hilarious.
Nice. Oh man, those are fun.
Blake, days. Yeah, you've played, like I said, a lot of different teams: Montreal, Indy, Miami, Cincinnati. Won a few trophies. Do you have any favorite memories, experiences, seasons, anything that really stands out in your career so far where you can really look back and be super thrilled about?
I mean, every team had strong memories of success, and obviously several that stick out in my mind. I'm just going to list a few. Is in Montreal, my first season, we ended up winning the Canadian Cup, and that first silverware for my professional career, and that was just really cool experience. And then from there, we were able to obviously partake in the CONCACAF Champions League, and so I was able to play in some of those games, and then we ended up going to the Champions League final. And even though I didn't play in that game, it was just still such a cool experience being a part of that team, and having such a deep run, getting to play at Azteca in front of 100,000 fans, and then to play the final, second leg at home in Montreal. It was just a really cool experience. We ended up getting second place, but still just an experience that most players don't get to experience. So that was just really cool. And then you got to take a lot of pride in actually winning regular season championships, and being a regular starter for those matches with Miami. With NASL, we ended up winning that league by like 20 something points regular season. And then same again with Cincinnati in USL, similar type situation. So those were both, you take more pride because you're obviously a regular starter, and you feel like more of a part of those wins, and it just means a little bit more. So I would say those would at this point, and then hopefully those will be the next ones.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Quick question, does your backflip still exist? Where did that move come from?
It's somewhere in my locker. I used to score a lot more goals, so that was seen frequently, but nowadays it's somewhere. I just have to, I'm waiting for a special goal. It can't be just a little tap in. It has to be a goal worthy of an old man trying to do a backflip. So
where did that come from? Like, what did you just want to learn how to do a backflip so you could celebrate?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know. I was young and stupid and fearless at the time. So I was literally like I don't even know, probably in 5th or 6th grade, when I'm trying to do back handsprings, and then I get the back handspring down, and one day I'm like, I'm going to try and carry that over into a back handspring, and then add a backflip to the end of it with my momentum. And don't ask me how I had the courage, but back then you have no fear. And so I tried it, and I pretty much got it the first couple times, didn't break my neck, and then ended up getting it and landed on my feet. And I'm like, all right, cool. And so I just ended up making that a goal scoring celebration.
That's dope.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I had a
Yeah.
trampoline. I'm like doing standing flips on the trampoline, standing backflips. I'm like, maybe I can do this on the ground. And so, yeah, I don't know. I was courageous back then. Now I don't try anything new.
Yeah, I've done like one backflip in my entire life, and it was accidentally off my bike when I was like 9 years old. So it wasn't even on purpose, and I don't think I landed on my feet. So anyone pulling off a backflip, it just moves up like 2 notches in my book in any capacity.
Appreciate it. I don't know if I can still do it though, but I'll try.
We're
it.
gonna find out.
Hopefully, I score a banger in San Antonio, and that way I can give it a
Yeah.
try. So don't laugh at
agree.
me if I fail.
I'm here for it. I'm here for creating an infinite backflip GIF just
Sweet.
over and over.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Is it GIF or GIF? I feel like we change every week.
I don't know, man. I keep going back and forth. I just keep wanting to not be wrong, and I'm just probably twice as wrong for going back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is there
True. You do
an
go back and
accurate
forth.
way of saying it? Because it's
I'm-
a debate.
I'm pretty sure the creator came out and said what? GIF, Luis?
Yeah, I think the creator said it's GIF, but like, do you just get to ignore grammar because you're the creator of something? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, probably, honestly.
Probably,
Like,
I guess so.
If
What
I
does
invented
it stand
something, I'd
for?
make you follow the rules.
It's
Ooh, good question.
What is it? Graphics integrated format. I could be completely wrong. I don't remember.
I'm double checking you on the Google machine right now.
Thank you. You're like yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're like that person that Joe Rogan has in the room. I forgot the name.
That's all I'd be about good for on this podcast anyway. Graphics interchange format, yes.
Interchange. Close.
Graphics is a hard G. So, I mean, GIF makes more sense than GIF, but if the creator says GIF, I don't know, man. I feel like we have to follow his rules.
I guess so.
He's just
I
wrong.
lost. Yeah, he's just wrong, but okay, we'll go with it.
Blake, what's your favorite part? You're playing for your hometown club, which is great. What's your favorite part about living back in the San Antonio area, Bernie area?
My favorite part about being back here, it's just being close to family, I would say. My parents are from here to Bernie is about a 45-minute drive to my parents' house. So we see them weekly, which has been, really nice as opposed to seeing them once or twice a year past 8 years. So that's actually even past 12 years if you include college. So yeah, that's been really nice. And then obviously having our own house now and being able to spread out a little bit more, especially during these quarantine days, we're able to, we have a backyard that we can enjoy and we're not stuck in an apartment. So that's also been pretty nice. Is
there a go-to meal in town or restaurant or something that you couldn't live without?
Oh, you know what? I'm happy to be back with some Tex-Mex. I love Tex-Mex.
There you go.
I don't have a specific place, I don't think, but there's so many good ones that I can't just pick one. I love Tex-Mex. I love barbecue. I love sweet tea. So having all those things again, that's been nice. Whataburger.
Of course.
You just hit our that's our hunger bone for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, so it's nice to have those places again.
Cool. I like tattoos. I have some. I see you have a bunch. What was your first tattoo, and then did you catch that bug and keep getting more, or was it getting things that meant something to you, or what are your tattoos all about?
My first tattoo is this one. It was a shoulder piece. It went to here. I don't know if you can see it well enough.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's Archangel Michael, and there's 4 different poppies, and they represent my mom, dad, brother, and sister. Basically, just protection for my family. And then you have little like buds coming that represent obviously the future generations of our family. And so that was my first piece. I got that when I was 20 or 21 in New Mexico. And then from there, I was just like, kind of wanted a half sleeve. And so, all of my tattoos have meanings. And so I waited obviously until I had a tattoo with a meaning. And so from there, I ended up adding, and I got my half sleeve. And at that point, I'm like, oh, 3/4 would be pretty cool. So I added, I added the lion, and then I have an eye on the inside. And so it was here at one point. And I'm like, it looks kind of funny. Maybe I should just go all the way. And so from there, I just went all the way. I guess you could call it an addiction. I guess.
Yeah.
I did my leg from there. But in my defense, I haven't had a tattoo in probably close to 4 or 5 years since my last one. Probably 4 years. So I would say partially because of the amount of pain on my leg to get my leg tattooed that detracted me, and then partially just because I haven't had any concepts of tattoos that I want to put on my body. So I wait till I have a good concept, and I'll get more. But at this point, I need ideas, and I need to know where a good artist is in San Antonio.
Okay, I'll give you some recommendations on artists one day for sure. But I feel like in terms of inspiration for ideas, I was thinking Luis's face with the new hair color on a body part of some sort.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It'd be an
honor. We've been recording this for like 25 minutes and nobody's brought up Luis's hair yet, but I know that's the first thing people are going to notice.
I thought I was going to get away with it, man.
Why? No. You're on video.
Just without you bringing it up, at least. I don't know. Where's Nick Evans when you need him? That he's been having a blast with it.
Yeah, the coaches have not been shy about how they feel about your haircut.
No, they have not. That's all right.
Yeah, give us the inspiration though, Lou. I'm curious. This podcast is mostly about Blake, but to me, it's about you as well.
Thank you. I don't know, man. For some reason, it was something that like I've been wanting to do for like a while now. But just because of work and you meet new people and stuff like that, I hadn't really wanted to do it. And then as it turned out, we were like locked in our houses for a minimum of 30 days. So I was like, well,
meet new people.
Yeah. I don't know. I
like
just thought it was.
You don't have to see any new people.
Yeah, I just thought it was a weird look. I haven't met anyone in like a month and a half, so I was like, now's a good time to do it.
I did it 2 seasons ago. I buzzed it and bleached it all.
Oh wow,
platinum. Oh wow,
I'm trying to
nice. Trying to find a photo. Yeah, I just got a cut. My girlfriend actually cut my hair, which you can't go see a barber or anything anytime soon. I feel like she did a pretty good job.
She did do a good job.
Yeah, it looks good.
She didn't thank you. She didn't bleach it blonde or platinum, but maybe that's for the next.
Maybe she should have
quarantine. Yeah, whenever we have the next pandemic come around, I'll do it then.
Exactly. There you go. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna dye it black again because it's lived its lifetime now.
Yeah. All right, Blake. Last question from me, and mainly just because I'm curious. You can only pick one movie, one TV show, and one band for the rest of your existence. What are you picking?
One movie, one TV show, one band.
Yeah. Band, artist, whichever.
Ooh. Man, that's a tough one.
I know. It's fun.
This is a good question, man. Where'd that come from?
Just me being locked in my house for 60 days.
Fair.
Movie. I'm going to go with, do I want to go comedy or do I want to go like serious? Like if I'm watching it all day for the rest, or not all day, but that's the only one I get to watch for the rest of my life, I'd say you want to like kind of lighten the mood up maybe. So
sure.
I think I'm going to go with Step Brothers.
Okay. Classic.
Yeah, I think that's the choice I'll have to go with. TV show. I don't know.
It's like something you can watch over and over again, like Friends or The Office or something like that.
Probably The Office.
Yeah.
Friends too. Friends is great too. Those are both 2 top choices, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe The Office. Actually, no, maybe Friends. They're both so good. I don't know.
Okay, we'll
Friends
call
or
it
The
a tie.
Office.
Yeah.
And artist?
Artist. I'm indifferent for music. Like I love music, but I'm not like obsessed about music. So let me think. I might just go with Drake.
Nice.
Okay. Just general Drake.
Easy. Yeah, easy.
Very nice. Preston, now I'm curious about yours.
Oh, well, it's funny. I was prepared to ask it. I wasn't necessarily prepared to answer it. I'll give you rapid fire so we don't take too long on this. The TV show would be Friends, mainly because it's not my favorite TV show of all time, but it's definitely one I can put on and watch, a million times in a row and see every episode 10 times and never get tired of it. So I'll do that. Movie, I have a lot of movies that I really enjoy watching. My favorite movie of all time is The Shawshank Redemption, and I've made it one of Luis's quarantine duties as my employee, I guess, in a way, to watch that movie, which he has not done yet. So he's on the brink of termination.
It's a great movie.
He watches it. Yeah, fantastic movie. I'll pick that for now, but I also, like, when I just trying to get my kicks, I watch really cheesy, scary movies. So maybe one of my favorites of those, like Cabin in the Woods or Last House on the Left, classic revenge story, like something like that, just so I can just throw on and be like, this is great. And then artist is pretty easy for me. It's Dave Matthews Band. It's a standard 31-year-old guy answer for sure. But you want to talk about, for me, a band that I can put on any of his songs at any time and find a way to vibe, that would probably be it. I know you guys both know I'm into some pretty heavy music, and as much as I love that music, I feel like if it was like a sad day and my only option was to listen to like Counterparts or Cliff Walker or something, I think I might get a headache finally from it, but I don't know. Luis, what about you?
Let's see. Movie's a tough one, so I'll leave that for last. Show, Entourage.
Nice.
Artist, The Strokes.
That was an easy one.
That was an easy one. Movie, maybe like The Social Network. For some reason, I can watch that just over and over. I don't get tired of it.
Yeah, me too. Courtney and I watched it for the fifth time.
Yeah,
like this week.
It's on Netflix now. I love that one.
Classic. Yeah, classic movie.
Another good show that I could have said but I didn't because I hate the ending.
What? Dexter.
How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, nice.
I love that show, but the ending it's so disappointing for me.
That was disappointing.
So it would be hard to watch that over and over again and just constantly be disappointed, I feel like. But still a good show.
Great show. Don't watch the ending.
Yeah, just cancel that last one.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, Blake, I appreciate you coming on and being a part of this and taking the time. And, hopefully this is the first of many that we're able to do. And sooner rather than later, we're all back at Toyota Field and having a good old time.
For sure.
Man. Hopefully you get to see everybody back on the field and interact with the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we go, Luis, do you want to hit all of our fans/listeners with where they can find all the details? Do you have it memorized still?
I think so. It's been a minute. Let's see. Well, for the now there's video, so video is going to live on YouTube. For the podcast itself, Catch Behind the Stripes on Spotify, Stitcher, Podcasts, the Google Store. That's the one I always leave out. And just follow San Antonio FC at San Antonio FC on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook SAFC USL on Facebook.
There you go. See,
almost nailed it. Almost nailed it.
That's pretty good. And if you guys can like and subscribe and review and everything, it always goes a long way. But with that being said, for Luis Leyva, SAFC defender Blake Smith, I'm Preston Petrie. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Hey, you need to change it to behind the checkers now because there's not stripes.
Oh, I know.
Big true.